President Donald Trump buried Ukraine's NATO dream while hosting Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Declaring Kyiv would never join the alliance, Trump promised only very good security in its place.
If you look back and you go back long before President Putin, it was always a statement that they would never allow Ukraine into NATO. So that was a statement that was made, but we haven't discussed any of that yet. We're going to be discussing it today, but we will give them very good protection, very good security. That's part of it.
Zelensky, who once campaigned for NATO membership, avoided the subject. Instead, he asked Washington and Europe for NATO-like guarantees: weapons, training, intelligence, and financing through NATO programs.
Everything, and it includes two parts. First, strong Ukrainian army. That's what I began to discuss with your colleagues, and it's a lot about weapon and then people and training missions and intelligence. And second, we will discuss with our partners.
Trump then set his sights on a bigger stage, announcing he would push for a trilateral summit with Russia and Ukraine, insisting it could bring the war to an end.
I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
Zelensky welcomed the initiative, but reminded the world of Ukraine's daily suffering. He spoke of civilians killed, including a toddler.
I know that today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia. I can't think so much. So first of all,
But the two leaders clashed over how. Zelensky implied the killing must stop immediately. Trump dismissed a ceasefire, calling it a gift to Russia.
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, you know, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, you know, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace and you know, long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. Would I like the concept, you know, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting.
On security aid, Trump stressed that U.S. support is no blank check. He said America is selling weapons, not giving them away, with NATO and Europe footing much of the bill.
We're not giving anything now, we're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number is well over $300 billion. That was under Joe Biden, a corrupt politician, not a smart man, never was. By the way, go back 40 years, he was not a smart man 40 years ago either, but now he's in particular bad. This was done by a corrupt administration that shouldn't have been in, and frankly, if the right results of the election were given, if I were president, this war would have never taken place, and he would have been very happy, because he would have liked to have seen, I mean, they went through hell. He went through hell. This war would have never happened, and the people that were killed, a couple of million people, a lot of people with soldiers and everything else, and the people that have been displaced and forced into other areas and other countries because of what's happened, none of that would have happened. And I'm just saying that he was a horrible president, whether it was the borders or this, he was just a horrible, corrupt president.
Trump closed by announcing he would phone Vladimir Putin immediately after the Oval Office meeting. For Zelensky, that raised both hope of a breakthrough and fear of concessions forced at the table.
I was just telling the president, I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance.
Trump buried NATO membership for Ukraine, offered only security guarantees, and tied peace talks to a trilateral with Putin. Zelensky, boxed in, pleaded for weapons and protection, but avoided the NATO fight. The message from Washington: the NATO door is closed, the Trump deal is open.